Hey and welcome to Neverwinter with Aragon. So before Christmas there were promised some changes to Fighter, Barbarian and Rogue. And well, they didn't happen yet. They happened to the PC preview server. And well, we finally have news that they'll be coming live pretty much this week. So I'm going to cover all three classes. There'll be timestamps on the play bar below. And we'll cover basically what's going to be changing. Again, this will be either tomorrow, Tuesday, or on Thursday. We aren't 100% sure just yet, but I'll keep you guys noted. We can see the notice from the executive producer Brett Norton here, where he says those few positive changes will be going live in a patch very soon. However, they do intend for some follow-up changes in a future update. We already know what those changes are, and these are as follows. Not so fast, magnitude increase, mighty leap in counter power, a base magnitude increase and a cooldown reduction. Cooldown reduction is very nice, but when you use the mightier leap feat, the damage won't be any different. Punishing charge, very nice cooldown reduction, and roar, a nice magnitude increase. So not a whole lot there for Barb, but they do intend for follow-up changes. For example, reducing the stamina regeneration delay for your sprint. Change that from 2 seconds down to 1 second. They want it to be less than 1 second, but with their spaghetti code, they would mean reworking it a good bit more, and they will probably look at that, but we'll see. Again, not coming with this update, only these things will be. Moving on to fighter DPS, there's some significant changes here. Again, we have an announcement from Brett Norton that, he isn't exactly happy with all of the changes. They do intend to do a bit more adjustments, but due to the timing of patches creation, holiday lag and things like that, they're just going to push this to live already. There will be some fixes they'll need to follow up on, along with some stamina regen they want to look at as well, as you would have seen earlier with the Barbarian. They want to change that from 2 seconds to 1 second. But the list of updates is quite extensive. You can see that all here. You've got your at will guarded strikes, you've got your encounter power, shield slam, knee breaker, your determination daily power, forge ahead, which is going to be like a new mechanic where you can gain immunity to damage and gain a burst in movement speed so you can get out of like a red zone easier. Seath is basically going to consume a lot less vengeance, and you're going to have a new mechanic where your guarded strikes will deal some extra damage and also generate vengeance. Then you're going to have a new revengeance mechanic, so it's like retaliate on the fighter tank path. You basically can deal damage when you retaliate damage, which is very nice. You're getting some class feature updates here. A bunch of them are new actually, just replacing old kind of useless ones. You can see that they're gaining some extra damage on vengeance use, the same here. With then a trip attack, feat, allowing knee breaker to knock down your enemy, deal a ton of damage and make them grant combat advantage damage. Also the way to vengeance feat, basically a tooltip update. This is actually not correct. It already had 480 magnitude, just it never displayed that properly. Prepared slam feat is getting changed to basically just cause tremor to pull enemies towards you. You no longer will have that effect with heavy slash. Executioner's cut feat, you'll deal a bunch of damage after 2 seconds when you hit people with encounter powers, consuming some vengeance. The land waster feat becoming a lot more friendly. Roiling hatred, you basically swap locations with what Executioner's Cut was, so you can use this instead of, let's say, the other feat, and then Bloody Reprise feat. Your duration, you've increased that so that you can have a better time frame for taking advantage of basically gaining all that vengeance back. You can read through those updates for yourself if you want a bit more details, but that's pretty much the bulk of the changes, other than them wanting to add in the reduction to the regeneration delay down to 1 second. They would like to remove it altogether, but that's a lot of work to do that. As for the Rogue, not a whole lot of updates, but a whole bunch of reworks to stealth are planned. Again, here was the announcement today from Brett Norton saying that these updates will most likely be coming this week. Again, most likely Tuesday or Thursday. Again, they feel it's a little bit rushed, but they kind of have to do it. They apologize for like whiplash on balance issues, but yeah, there's still expected to be a few more changes to Rogue in the near future. Here we can see what updates will actually be coming. You're getting the Shadow of Demise feat basically getting nerfed down to 40% and no longer affected by enemy stats or debuffs. It's a good thing outside of artifact calls, but it's a nerf in artifact calls by a lot. But Shadowy Opportunity, oddly enough, is getting increased, which will just make Rogue be even a little bit more busted. It already is pretty busted because of this feat, combining it with like Smoke Bomb and Path of Blades. You're getting all those extra hits off, and 250%, if you aren't aware, is basically 250 magnitude. You're basically gaining that on every single attack for 5 seconds. Combining that with Blade Flurry and Return of the Shadows, hitting multiple targets, you can basically gain stealth every 5 seconds and basically have this in effect all the time. So you're having an at-will which is gonna deal like 300 magnitude per hit, plus all these other hits at the same time per second. You end up with pretty ridiculous amounts of damage. They will be fixing some of the bugs that do allow for this to be even more impactful, such as Smoke Bomb having 9 hits. They're actually going to reduce it down to 4 hits, much like how they changed Path of the Blades. Vengeance Pursuit will no longer generate like the stealth as it did before, having 3 hits. It's supposed to only have 2 hits, so that's going to be changed. Razor Action will no longer trigger on every hit with Killing Storm. That was a pretty big amount of damage during an early call. So yeah, some pretty much nerfs right there. But they do want to have a closer look at stealth regeneration, and basically when you take damage, you're losing stealth. So they want to change that up. They're going to remove all incoming damage related penalties to stealth, but they will be reworking it, and don't expect Master of the Shadows to survive in its current form. That is the feat you find on the Assassin Paragon, which allows you to basically gain an absolute ton of stealth generation. That will be getting reworked a little bit. But what they intend to do is basically this, something like that. So you're going to have different sources of stealth regen that will basically give you like plus 50% regeneration. And so you'll get different sources, and you'll end up from a base regeneration time of 12.5 seconds to then using 1 effect down to 8.3 seconds, using 2 effects down to 6.25 seconds, using 3 effects you're down to 5 seconds. And you can use different effects, like for Assassin you can have Tenacious Concealment feature, Gloaming Cut at will, and Master of the Shadows feat. So you'll generally use just Gloaming Cut and Master of the Shadows on Assassin anyway, so you'll have that 6.25 seconds, which is pretty relatable to how it is right now. And then for Whisper Knife, there'll be a bunch of different effects you can use as well, and they might look at reworking how the straight injections of stealth work, where you have abilities which just immediately have you regenerate stealth here and here, and yeah, we're going to have to see what their plan is for that. It's still a little bit up in the air, but you can see Master of the Shadows, how they explain it wasn't working as intended. You're basically getting stealth every 6 seconds, which is what it's going to be with their proposed changes here, just 0.25 seconds longer, I guess, because you'll still use Gloaming Cut and Master of the Shadows, but you could use then the other feat and still have like 8 seconds stealth regen. That's pretty good, especially with the rework to Lashing Blade. You kind of want to use stealth with Lashing Blade, so you could just combine that, and you aren't getting stealth like drained anymore when you get hit, so you'll know for sure you'll have the stealth for Lashing Blade each time, and you won't need some extra regen. So it frees up using basically not Master of the Shadows. You could use the other feat that matches with it. I believe it is Knife's Edge, reducing your cooldowns, which can be pretty good for burst damage, especially if you combine it with, let's say, Tacticians. But yeah, it was a bit bugged, and it was a bit in favor of the players in terms of overperforming. Just be aware those changes are not happening yet to like Smoke Bomb, Razor Action, Vengeance Pursuit, and all that stealth regeneration. That will be in a future update, something they plan to still do but haven't implemented. For Rogue, again, all that there will be for this week are these 2 updates, just making Shadowy Opportunity even more busted, so enjoy that for another week or 2. Ultimately, that is it. That's the planned changes for this week. Yes, they are aware that some of them are a bit rushed, not well thought out, and they will be doing future updates to that again. They do apologize for basically making the live server like a test server. They apologize for the whiplash that the balancing has caused. I think Fighter may be in a very good state, maybe even a little bit overpowered in single target. We shall see. But right now, most of the content is multi-target, like the Moon Dancer. So you don't really notice somebody who's really good in single target, other than when you go outside of that to, let's say, Tower of the Man Mage, Zarya, which are single target heavy. But we'll see how the balancing is, and make sure to give your feedback. They have generally been following this all on the Protectors Enclave Discord server. Special thank you to all these channel members for their added support. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.